Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. I'm Tommy, I'm a human nutrition student and researcher at the university. My job here in this type of videos is to consume a lot of content in the university, in the classes, and then I synthesize the most important things of each subject. Today we start a new series of videos in which we are going to talk about cooking technology, something very important and very interesting. So let's begin. Okay, so introduction to cooking technology. To understand what cooking technology is, we need to first understand what cooking is. So, starting with food cooking. Food cooking is the process that we use in which we apply heat to food to make it safer, tastier and different from the original source, which was raw. Food cooking has many different advantages and disadvantages. Starting with the advantages, the positive changes we achieve with food cooking are increased food safety because we kill many bacteria or microorganisms that can be bad for us. We also increase the organoleptic part of the food we cook because it releases the aromas and it also increases the taste of the food in most cases. Then it also increases digestibility. Cooked food is also easy to digest because we will see that it will have a pre-digestion during cooking. Then we also concentrate energies because we lose some water in the cooking process. Well, it also depends, but generally speaking, we lose some water and that will increase the concentration of calories inside the food. Therefore, we can eat more food and get more energy out of it. And then also the bioavailability. We get more nutrients from the same food when cooked. For example, the lycopene in the tomatoes is increased by a lot when the tomato is cooked. Another example is the protein in the eggs. When we cook the egg, the bioavailability of those proteins go from a 50% in a raw state to a 95%. So we increase by a lot the bioavailability. Then I was also talking about the pre-digestion that occurs when we cook food. Yes, because focusing on the main macronutrients, we have carbohydrates, fats and proteins. Well, the carbs, they are generally present in food as starches, and starches, when cooked, they create a gelatin. We have the starch gelatinization, and that makes the starch way easier to digest and therefore absorb. Also, the fat are emulsified and hydrolyzed, so they are way easier to be attacked by our digestive enzymes and therefore be absorbed. And then also protein are denaturated and collagen is converted to gelatin. Here we have to differentiate something. This gelatin is not the same as this one. Starch gelatinization means that the starch is broken down and it's easy to digest, whereas collagen to gelatin, that gelatin is the gelatin you know from candies and sweets. But cooking food, it also has some negatives. As we see here, we lose some nutrients. Yes, especially water most of the times, depending on the cooking method, of course, but essentially water, and with water, the hydrosoluble vitamins go as well, such as vitamin C and vitamin B groups, and then also some minerals and other enzymes. Then when we cook food, a lot of toxic components are also created in the process of cooking. For example, if you leave everything for too much time cooking, eventually it will get burned, and that's toxic for our body. We cannot eat those foods that are overcooked or burned because they have too many toxic components. But the thing is that even if we do not reach that point, we will have probably some toxic components in our cooked food as well. And then we also have lower nutrient utilization. This is, for example, when we prepare some cooked potatoes and we remove the skin. Well, by removing the skin to cook them, we are actually losing some vitamin C potential of that food. Moving on, we have to understand the science of cooking. Science and cooking. We can apply either experience or science to the cooking process. Experience is done by practice, and science tries to improve the control over the culinary methods. So to understand why a chef is a good chef and why he succeeds in his culinary process is determined by science many times. So these two can work together and they determine the differences in the same dish. And with science we can also view for some innovation of traditional recipes that we have been doing for many long time, and then we can improve or maybe be able to replicate exactly the one that is the best using the science. And now let's view what cooking technology is, the definition of cooking technology. To do so, I like to use this diagram here because it's more visual and you can remember it very easily. It is the discipline that studies the culinary processes, the changes in food, and the culinary space. Basically, we have a culinary space in which we implement some culinary processes to the food, and we see the changes that we get. What are the goals of cooking technology? Well, cooking technology wants to define the types of culinary installations, the optimal culinary conditions, the types of culinary treatments, and the food changes due to the treatments. Again, it's similar to this definition. Culinary installations are the culinary space, culinary conditions is also the culinary space, culinary treatments, the culinary processes, and the food changes due to treatments, the food changes. And now let's view the historical milestones. What did we learn in history about cooking technology? So when we first started in the prehistory, cooking food made us develop a bigger brain and a smaller digestive system, as well as smaller teeth, since what we ingested was something very concentrated and much more bioavailable and absorbable than before. During older civilizations such as Greece and Rome, then we started eating bread and beer and wine and use spices. During the Middle Age, the first culinary book was published and they started using table services and the concept of bad manners at the table. In the Renaissance, a lot of things were imported from the Americas and we developed bigger kitchens and we started using cutlery. In the 17th century, the kitchens got even bigger and we improved the techniques of cooking and also the table service was better. We had to wait until 18th century to see the first restaurant. Then in the 19th century, it started a thing called gastronomic criticism, in which people discussed if a food was either good or bad under certain standards. Then also the menus appeared and we started to use some science for mainly the conservation methods, such as the preserves or the fridges. And we also got better at kitchen equipment. In the 20th century, something never seen before appeared. The Nouvelle Cuisine. This was a philosophy behind eating, that the dishes were made to be light, subtle, delicate, fine and melting, instead of the previous ones, that they were like big pieces of food, grandma style eating. And then now, in the 21st century, we have the culinary science. We have better equipment, better techniques, and we also have a thing which is more or less recent, which is food pairing. So now that we know exactly what's in food, we can make new pairings that maybe there have never been done before, simply because we know that pairing those two types of food that are maybe different can result in a better taste and a new taste maybe. And now in recent years, the concept of molecular cooks started to appear. This is using the science behind the culinary processes to make sure that every time we cook, we get the same result and we use proper techniques and culinary methods as if there was in a laboratory. Indeed, this is using science to prepare food. That's it, this is it for this video. I hope you understood everything I said, and I hope you learned something new about cooking technology. Maybe you didn't know the history or the pros and cons of cooking food. So if you enjoyed, please leave me a like, and don't forget also to subscribe and share this video to your friends and family to spread this message. You can find this diagram on my website, and you can download it for free so you can study it very well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one, in which we are going to talk about kitchens and catering. Bye!